Hey everyone, in this video I'll be showing you an OP Lazlo build in Mortal Shell 2. His kit is all about building up his heat and then going on a rampage with an increase to his critical hit chance, increased damage, and he burns everything down, which is nice because when you're doing general mobbing here, it's going to make it easier for you to deal with a group of enemies. He also gets a really fast boost to his attack speed, he can apply statuses really good, and just in general a strong character. So I will take you through the best skills to select here and in the order to take them. For Lazlo, the Justiciar. Now, he's actually got some cool mechanics. You basically want to use his Retribution here, build up the heat, and then lose his armor and get a bunch of benefits. Now, he will scale pretty decently, obviously, in the late game because his best skills are near the bottom, but early on he has some good options. Now, where the armor lets you use his Retribution and have a lesser cost to it, I would recommend just putting 2 points into this. It's more than enough to be able to build up his heat enough. The third is just a really expensive option, more so for New Game Plus. And also warmed up, which will give him an increase to his damage the higher up his heat meter goes, which gives him 30% more damage for a single point. That is amazing. He also gets an increased 35% resolve from his melee attacks, which is also really nice. And he has two skills that is going to give him an increased 10% damage reduction. There's this one here, and then down further with Furnace. I don't fully recommend investing into that because we're trying to lose his armor as quickly as possible, but he does have a stock 10% reduction whenever his armor is on, which is nice. After this, we can then go with a single point of temperament. I would leave this till later to increase the shockwave damage. But this here is pretty cool. So when Lazlo's armor comes off cooldown, his heat meter will rise. This allows us to get our heat build up quicker, which again gives us a damage boost, and it's what we're looking to do. So incandescence is really nice. But as we get down deeper into this, we want to get Breaker here. Breaker is actually really crazy because shockwaves will deal break damage. This makes it really good for mobbing because you can just unleash this on a group of enemies and sometimes break their posture in multiple enemies. You can just go around riposting them all, which is amazing. But it's the final stack of this which is really good. So the overheated shockwaves gives you a 15% chance to instantly break enemies. Pretty much every character in this game has an RNG dependent skill, and this one it is for him. But this is really good because an instant break is absurdly powerful. Now when you break an enemy, don't go in and do the riposte right away. There's a number of abilities, Tarstones, in this game that lets you use the full ability, which does a good amount of damage, and then do the riposte. So do that. It is going to be so much better. Because after the riposte, you can sometimes hit them a few more times, and with his increased resolve gain, this allows you to get your skills back, break your armor off again, and it's just a really good flow that it gets into. But when it comes to the end, the last two abilities here in his tier 4 are really good. So I'll first talk about Inflamed here, which makes it so his heat meter no longer drains over time. For a single point, that is massive value. Overheated shockwaves will no longer consume resolve, and inflict 10 burn stacks is also quite nice for a single 2-point investment. Burn deals accumulated damage over time, which is nice, and it also staggers weaker enemies, but it doesn't do a thing against bosses. So if you're going against the boss, take this off, but for the most part, it's actually a pretty solid option, but it's only on overheated shockwaves. Afterwards though, Rush is just, this is where a lot of our damage comes from. So basically you want to use this, we get our extra damage, the stronger our heat rate raises up, and then Rush, when your armor goes on cooldown, so when it breaks off of you, you get 10 warp stacks or 20 warp stacks, which gives you an increased attack speed. There's a lot of weapons, every weapon in this game can apply the warp stacks. There's some weapons that can give you the max 30 stacks immediately, but getting 20 stacks lets you attack really fast, as you saw at the start of this video with the axe and dagger. This also gives you a critical hit chance. Now the 4 points it requires to give you an extra 5% is debatable because there is Tarstones that can give you that ability as well. And then you can also go ahead with something like this, which overheated shockwaves have a 30% chance not to deactivate Lazlo's armor. I like this because crits in this game are really good. They get bonus damage, but it's a lot of damage. But you may be better off in a lot of situations going with a flamed here, taking this off when you're going against bosses, and then you can put those points into the inner fire here if you're going against a fire themed boss, which will give you warp stacks when you get hit with a burn, which is great because then you don't have to worry about the warp stacks from there. Again, they have max 30 stacks. And there's also the Furnace here, which gives Lazlo a 50% chance of surviving a fatal blow, which is nice, but it is a bit risky to get this to trigger properly. It's kind of like Janessa's ability for the survival, which is not always the most reliable, but I find in the order to do these in, you'd want to put up Word of the Armor, warmed up, and then you can put a few points in Incandescent. You can remove those later as you get tier 3, max this out, and then put a single point here and put those points back in. And then into the late game, this is at level 50, just to keep things as consistent as possible. Put 3 points into both of these here. This gives you a big damage boost with a faster attack speed and critical hit chance, and this just gives you the ability to use your overheated shockwaves and make them not consume resolve, which is nice, and then also give you a chance to not deactivate your armor. And then if that happens, you just basically keep attacking it and get your resolve back and keep spamming. That brings us to weapons. I think the Axe and Dagger works very well with him because you can put Blood Curse on this, which is a huge damage boost. The Iconoclast is good on everyone, so that works as well. I also like the Black Needle. It's just a solid weapon, it just doesn't have the best infusements on it. You can go Axe Katana here. Shock is good for the shock damage. You get burn and shock for 2 damage over times. But I prefer Stasis on this because you can put a Stasis on the Axe Katana and then just make the enemies move so much slower, which really does benefit him because he can move really quickly once you get the warp stacks up. And I'll give it a little honorable mention to Clockwork Scythe with Blood Curse. It's really good, but my top 2 weapons would be Axe and Dagger and the Axe Katanas, as he just benefits a lot from a fast attack speed. Now for ranged weapons, the nail shot I really like, just a shotgun, powerful. Forgotten crossbow works great too. And I also am a fan of the salvaged trebuchet axe. You do have to get range on the enemy and charge it up, but the damage it does is very high. You could also use the Cage Hystrix as well, like those would be like my top 4. And I guess even the Ballistooka is a good choice as well, but I typically run with the nail shot because of the Tarstones. And your seal is personal preference. I use the Untarnished seal, but Vatras is probably the true best. This takes us to our Tarstones, and the best 4 in my opinion is going with Auspicious Stone for an 18% increased melee critical hit chance. This stacks with his other crit chance, and that's what we're going for. Crits are the best damage in this game, so we want them. Teal is unfortunately the best at that, but you can check the pinned comment for a teal build. I am a huge fan of the Headsman Stone. This is super powerful. 100% increased crit damage when we have a crit chance built into our kit, and then also using this stone to give ourselves a max boost to it. It is really good. We can also throw in the Marksman Stone. As ranged weapons only apply their statuses if you get a crit, so we want to get obviously those crits. And the Berserker Stone. So when we go low in health, the 50% or lower, we get a 165% increase to our damage, which is just a really good boost. So yeah, take these core 4. Into the combat. Now, Duality Stone, if you're using Axe Katana or the Axe and Dagger, that's the best choice because this makes it so your weapon attacks strike twice. That is huge. Double the resolve game, double the status applied. It is extremely strong. Best in slot Tarstone. I also like the Thief Stone. This works on all weapons, so depending on the weapon you use, you can use the axe even, and this increases your attack speed every time that you attack, and it does get pretty nice when there's multiple enemies in a group together. Early on though, you can throw on Parasitic Stone to give yourself increased max health, which is nice, but I find it's not super useful. Now, Enfeebling Stone is important because this can be put on any of them, so the crossbow or the shotgun here are great. This will apply Fragile, which makes targets take bonus damage from weapon attacks, similar to crits, so you can do insane damage. This is mostly just to pepper them a couple times to stack up the Fragile, and then you go in with your Axe and Dagger and attack really quickly, do a lot of extra damage. You can also throw on like the Corroded Stone, which will do damage over time, which is nice, or the Splitting Stone if you're using the Forgotten Crossbow. Into Infusions, since we're using the Axe and Dagger, Arbiter's Prize for Blood Curse, this does a huge amount of damage. It's like Bleed from Elden Ring, super good. If you're using the Axe Katana or even the Hammer, the Torpor Stone will give Stasis, which slows the enemy down. Insane value because they are moving slow. We're getting hit less, so it just allows you to reposition better. But yeah, the 3 weapons that I recommend are all Blood Curse, and then you can even use Lightning and that as well. Now, the Vile Tongue Hedron here gives you Blood Curse on crits on your shotgun, which is incredible because you got a good amount of damage from that. You can go with the Fire here because we are Fire themed, which is nice, but I just found this to be so much better. And honestly, the other Tarstones work depending on what you would prefer out of your build, but I just think Blood Curse on the shotgun ends up being the best, or Fire on the crossbow. This brings us to ability stones. Magdalena's Memento. If you're using the Axe and Dagger, this is the best in slot for it. If you're using the Axe Katanas, use the Strike Stone or the Hexapod Core, which will also give you warp stacks for that fast attack speed, although he doesn't have a problem with that. So I prefer the Strike Stone because it gives you massive invincibility frames. With the shotgun, the Fusillade Stone is also amazing because it gives a huge crit chance and damage, and that is great because we can apply Blood Curse from range, which is super good. You can also use like the Solnir Shard as well, or if you're using something different like the Ballistooka, you can use the Fulminant Shard here to give it an explosion, or use the Infested Stone. Yeah, the general flow to his combat is you want to get his armor off as fast as possible. This does great break damage. You can see we got a good chunk of the break there, and then we go for the third one. All 3 of them are now broken, so that's really nice because you just go in for those very weak ripostes, because unfortunately ripostes in this game are not very strong. But we attacked and we got all our form back, so then we can again go in and use our armored there, which gives us an attack speed boost. You do have to play a little bit more defensively because you don't have the damage boost, but that attack speed boost is really nice. You leave a fire surface on the ground so you can try to bait enemies into attacking there, and we still have a good amount of stacks. We still have 14, 13, 12. Like, your warp stacks don't go away quickly. And if you weren't aware, your heat does get built up, and you'll see it on the bottom of the screen there. So we got a good chunk of our warp built up with that. And then if you go for another one there, oh, that bounced him right into us. And then we go for another, we got our heat fully maxed out here. So this is going to be the shockwave that does the explosion. So you want to time it around that. It's going to be the 4th one there. And that's how you get that big boost to your attack speed, which is what we're looking for here. And then you're going to go in and you can use like your stones. If you got an ability stone ready, you can use like Magdalena's Memento there, for example. I'm also using for, I guess, passives. I should quickly talk about passives. The best option is probably the Grisha Remnant as your passive. I don't like to use it because it's a bit overpowered. So I'll use the Sheephead Totem as my passive. And the active, use Common Moonshine, or check the pinned comment for a guide to get the Mango, which can give you 100% of your health immediately. It's the best item in the game. You will have to go to New Game Plus to get that. It regularly does 50% or 50 extra health. So yeah, use those. They're really good. And the guide is really quick and easy in the pinned comment to be able to get yourself the Mango. But yeah, anytime you have your armor on, you want to then get rid of it. So use your burn stacks here, and you're going to have 5 uses of it there. So yeah, you can see insane value, because once you lose your armor, you just attack so quickly. Now, he doesn't do the same damage as other characters in this game, but yeah, being able to do that and shred your armor and then just blast away is good. And then you also have your ability stones here. This is Magdalena's Memento, which did Blood Curse on him. So that's amazing, because we got a huge bout of damage that gets buffed up by our Axe and Dagger. So yeah, that is Lazlo in Mortal Shell 2. If you found this video useful, please hit the subscribe button below. I also have a video on a tier list of the best shells, so you can check out the best ones in this game. All of them are pretty good, honestly, and they have unique ways you can build them. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below if you enjoyed, and I hope you guys all have an incredible day.